This is a wonderful 51,000 Selmer Super balanced action with the original neck. The first thing I look at when I look at an old Selmer is the finish and engraving. This horn, of course, has no engraving because it's a European assembled SBA. The finish is original silver. There's no bleed in any of the engraving. It's all clean. It's, I mean, yes, there's a little bit of, on the E, it looks like it's not finished, but this is original. This is original silver. Now, of course, there's some wear on the finish in certain places. There just means the horn was played. I notice there and there. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Okay, let's notice these pearls. The pearls are very worn. They're almost convex with how worn the pearls are. Again, the horn was played. High mileage, but oftentimes it's because a horn was good. All right. Now the next thing I look at when I'm looking at a vintage Selmer is the neck, because I think the neck is the voice of the horn. Okay, late SBA, it has the Mark 6 style neck. Still original. But I look for pull down. Now with the naked eye, you might see a little bit of pull down. Right, let's try and get this. Right along here. You can see with the reflection of the light that it's a little bit. So if I'm feeling how round it is here, okay, that feels pretty good. Right around here, it's starting to bow out. So it's starting to bow out here on the sides, and I really feel it there. By the time I get here, it's back to fully round. So right around here, right in that problem area, it tells me this neck was pulled down a little bit. Now, that's not to say that the neck is ruined, but whenever you're changing the geometry, especially at that sort of fulcrum point along here, you're changing the voice of the horn, and many collectors will not buy a horn if the neck is pulled down. It's the first or second thing people look at. Other than that, the neck is in very good shape. Probably resoldered there. The pip looks good. The end of the neck looks very good. This hasn't been shortened or anything. The neck cork is good. But that pull down here, it's not that extreme. And some people might not notice, but there you can really see in the reflection how the angle has been changed. And that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. The other thing I notice here is I'm really running my finger along here, is I'm noticing almost the direction is perhaps bowing a little bit this way. So in addition to being pulled down, it may have also been pulled right a little bit, as probably over years as a mouthpiece was taken on and off. So again, that's very important. Let's look at the rest of the horn. Again, beautiful original finish. Let's talk about the mechanism. So I am a bit of a traditionalist. I like the original resonators that Selmer put in. The domed metal nickel plated brass resonators, the Tonex resonators. I really think they add something to the sound. These are plastic resonators and black roux pads. Now, the thickness of the roux pads is pretty good. I look at these key heights. I think they're a little bit too close for me, too low for me, and that affects the horn. My main SBA had the original adjustment materials, original pads, original resonators, and I had the heights maintained. So the thing about roux pads, which is compounded on this instrument because the springs, there are a lot of stainless steel springs on this horn. There are some blue steel springs, but there are a lot of stainless steel springs, and the feel of this horn ergonomically is extremely tight, to the point where it started to hurt my hands. And that is compounded upon the fact that I don't think these roux pads are seating very well. So you have an already very resistant press. Let's look at some of these. Okay, perfect example. That's a stainless steel spring on the octave mech. Yeah, okay, there's a blue steel there. There's another stainless. That's a blue steel. That's a stainless. That's a blue steel. So, that's a stainless. Absolutely. Look at that. Yep. Stainless steel springs just okay. Maybe they don't tarnish, or there's a reason if you have extreme humidity or extreme temperatures, but it makes the horn feel like a student horn, and I think that's a shame. Again, add on top of the fact that these roux pads, I have to put too much hand tension to seat them. I've tried so many top techs install roux pads, and it's the same on clarinet too. I've tried a lot of roux pads for clarinet, and they just don't do it for me. I prefer the Selmer pads, or kind of like Boston Sax Shop says, the like Farise pads are very similar to the original pads that Selmer put in, and I prefer the feel of them. We could talk about the adhesive that was used for them. I'm not really sure what it is, but that could also be a problem. In Florida, where this horn was overhauled, a lot of people like to use hot glue, and I think that that can pose a problem too, because a lot of times it moves, and the leather just never really fully seats. It's always in a wiggling capacity. Again, that's my experience. I've played great overhauls with hot glue, but there's just a difference of opinion here. Even the neck, the spring of the neck, is wrong. It's not right. So the feel there, you can really see how out of round the neck is. So the whole feel of the horn is wrong. Again, the pads are more subjective, but mechanically the horn is just not right. There are some clicks and clacks, which after a $1,500 overhaul there should not be. I mean, you see, that's definitive. That's good. There's not a lot of slop in the keys. There's really no slop at all. That's good. It's tight. But then there's a fine line between tight and immovable. Let's look at some other things. Okay, the bow is very good. No hits there. But if I compare, there's taken some damage and has been brought back into shape. That's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it is something that can absolutely affect the voice of the horn. The bell is in very good shape. Again, overall, this horn is extremely clean for the age. A couple other things I notice. Those screws aren't right. Again, blue steel springs, stainless steel. Right there. What? And even if you want to go all stainless steel springs, which I think is a mistake on somebody that wants speed and agility on a beautiful horn like this, then at least do it all. So you're having an identity crisis where this horn is, 75% stainless steel springs, 25% blue steel springs. I just don't get it. I don't understand the logic, and I don't think whoever did this is a saxophone player like some of the best around, like Bill Singer, perfect example, one of the greatest sax techs in the world, and he is a saxophone player, and he understands, and he's worked with basically just saxophone players for the longest time in New York City. He really understands the needs of a horn, how to make it resonate, how to bring out longevity both of the horn of the overhaul, but also of the player. So that's my analysis of this horn. It sounds great, despite the fact that it's not really sealing for me with my finger strength, with my comfort of hand tension, palm tension. And the neck, it still feels good. I just have to make the sound too much with this horn. I have to force the horn. I have to push it too hard, and it's a false push. There's a lot to love about it, but at the end of the day, I just get tired and I get a headache when I play it.